Hey, Al.
Hey, everybody else. It's Allison.
And Kevin.
And it is Parshat.
Vaera.
And we're making up for Shemos.
This is our makeup, or we're just doing a 2-in-1? How's it working?
A 2-in-1.
Okay.
Decided. Boom.
But is it going to be double the length?
I think it's going to be double the impact, same amount of length.
That's what you're getting. You're getting more bang for your buck.
Hopefully. But I hope that also doesn't discourage us or encourage us from skipping weeks. So
That's true.
we have a super spicy episode, and that way everyone's like, skip more weeks.
That. Did you hear about this? There's a comedian, Cat Williams. He had a very viral.
What's cat short for?
I don't know.
C-A-T, K-A-T.
K-A-T-T.
K-A-T-T. Okay.
Yeah.
What's the language of origin?
I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. It's like,
well,
for him.
he was on this podcast, and he was saying how he's funnier than all these other comedians. And he was saying the way that he knows that he's funnier than other comedians is because he's like, I have more laughs per 30 minutes. So he's like, these other comedians, they're at like 10 laughs per, 30-minute set. I'm at 25 laughs per 30-minute set. So I know, like, statistically, I have the metrics that I'm better than all these other comedians.
Okay. So what did the other comedian say to that?
Yeah, it was, he threw a lot of shots out there.
Ooh.
And
it's a good thing this isn't a comedy podcast.
Is it a comedy podcast?
Coming dead last.
Why do you say we come in dead last?
I don't know. Firstly, I can't even measure to 30 minutes. We don't give ourselves 30 minutes to even.
Okay, you
you're under.
That's what you do, ratios. Divide by 3.
No, but part of having jokes is setting them up right, and you can only set jokes up right if you have 30 minutes.
You need 30 minutes to set up a joke? That's a low percentage per bit.
But in order to have, also in comedy, there are callbacks. Are you familiar with the callback?
We do that. We
Try to do that.
We do a little Seinfeld. We'll end it with maybe a Cat Williams reference.
So there needs to be enough time to go on a separate journey in order for a callback to actually be funny.
Layers.
Yes.
Inception.
Right. And so that's why you don't see any 20-minute Netflix comedy specials.
But we do have the 10-minute halacha shears, 20-minute parsha shears. So that's our lane. We're not in the Netflix comedy lane. We don't need to be a part of that, Michigas.
But Netflix, if you're out there, consider it. No, all doors are open. That's all I have to say.
We definitely try to keep our doors open. But sometimes it's hard to keep your doors open. There's a line that I think about from this week's parsha where Hashem tells Moshe the 4 lashonot of Geula.
Okay, now in English.
The 4 different phrases of redemption from Egypt, where it says, Veheveti, vehitzalti, velakachti, vegaalti. That, I'll bring them, and I'll take them, and I'll redeem them, and I'll bring them. I don't remember all the words that it said. And then it says that Bnei Israel, the children of Israel, weren't able to hear Moshe mi kotzer ruach u'me'amudah kasha. That the children of Israel weren't able to hear Moshe because of their crushed spirits and the cruel bondage that they were under. This is chapter 6, verse 9. What do you make of that verse?
Well, I think that there's certainly an idea of it's hard to hear people when you're weighed down by a lot of other challenges, and that you can just feel very much in your stuff.
Right. Yeah. I remember Andrew Yang, still doing good things. He, on one of his podcasts, he was like, the reason that like poor Americans don't care about climate change is because like 40% of Americans don't have $400 in savings. And like, if you don't have $400 in spare cash and you're living paycheck to paycheck, like, who cares if there's going to be a tidal wave in New York in 2060? Like,
and you certainly don't have the luxury to go ahead and spend the money that's better for the planet,
right?
And like make those type of decisions,
right? So it's like the planet's being destroyed, and it's like
I can't eat.
I can't hear that. Yeah. I remember there's a book that we read, what was it called? The 7 things for...
7 principles for making a marriage work.
Nice.
Yeah, we read that before we were married.
So one of the things that it says is that it's written by Dr. John Gottman and his wife, and it says that they have this like love lab where they watch couples interact, and
it's PG.
According to the footage,
PG footage.
The PG footage.
Love lab.
Well, yeah, it's like a yeah.
We all know what they were thinking. You needed to send.
You needed to. I didn't go there. But you're right. I don't realize the things that I'm saying.
Well, you know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So
the difference
that
they put couples in a space and they observe how they interact.
Yes.
And they know that they're being watched.
Hidden camera. That for every one criticism that a person in a relationship gives, they should have 5 compliments. That's like the minimum ratio of critique to compliment.
Yep.
So it's like people literally can't hear your criticism if it's like tit for tat and like very just see you as like a critical person rather than someone who has their best interest in mind.
For sure. That was something I definitely kept in mind when I was a camp counselor. I'm like, these kids, good job putting on your shoes. Like, I need to find like the littlest things so that way when something actually didn't go so fabulous, I still had a good relationship with them.
Yeah. But at least the way that this verse is hitting me is like there was this international court justice thing that Israel was put on trial for genocide by South Africa in The Hague.
Mm-hmm.
You heard about this?
I did hear about it.
And there's another podcast called For Heaven's Sake. And they were talking about if they're able to hear this criticism now. Like,
right. We definitely have a shortness of spirit right now and definitely heavy work that's being done in Israel. Our ears are certainly not open for this type of, maybe you should just refine this. And it's like, we're fighting for our lives right now. Like, we're doing our best.
Yeah.
There's no way we're hearing anything and implementing anything.
Yeah. And I was talking to my brother this week who went to the medic of his unit in the army was killed, and 2 of his friends from a sister or brother unit, like he was staff 1, they were staff 2, and they alternate, so they knew each other very well, were also killed. And like talking to him, and you're like in the war when you're feeling like your country is at risk and like being attacked in the international court, like not getting into like the details of like, well, what about this and this, like it's like not the place to be able to hear that. You're just like going through loss and pain and like just a need to process, and it only, I think, frustrates and I don't know, causes a sense of like resentment. That's really the word that I'm thinking about.
But like going back to what you said about how people, like, you're not going to listen to someone if they just give you criticisms, like that's kind of where at least I feel like we're at with South Africa and like other nations that continually criticize Israel. It's like we're not taking any tokusa, we're not taking any rebuke or implementing any lessons from you because we're writing you off as anti-Semitic, and that's it.
Right.
Our ears are totally shut to that.
Right. Like last year in the UN, there were, I don't remember the exact numbers, like 12 or 14 resolutions against Israel. Like 1 against North Korea, 1 against Iran, 1 against like China. I don't think there were any against China.
Oh, wow. How'd they call that one off?
Well, I think China's one of like the big countries that has veto power. I think like 1 or 2 against Russia, 1 against like Syria.